Greetings and welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. Gyesie, transformational coach and shamanic leadership guide here at Inner Mileage, where we help folks transform, understand the trauma basis of limiting self-beliefs, and take inspired action to create resonant, happy lives right here. Now, today I want to talk about the cloak of invisibility, how ascending empaths become untouchable to narcissists. You see, today's transmission speaks to the silent war that begins once you start remembering who you are. It also speaks to what happens when an empath begins ascending, not just emotionally, but vibrationally, karmically, and neurobiologically. As your light gets refined, the darkness gets more surgical. The narcissists don't just disappear, they evolve their tactics. They become spiritual, they become subtle, they become performative. Why? Because they can feel it. Your signal is changing and you are stepping out of resonance. So why does the empath's ascension trigger spiritual warfare? Let's talk about that. You see, from a trauma-informed neuroscientific process, when empaths begin regulating their autonomic nervous systems, whether it's through somatic healing or breath work and presence, the empath moves from hypervigilance to sovereign nervous system autonomy. And this triggers narcissistic collapse, particularly in those who are used to being parasitic of your reactivity. And this is because you're no longer dancing to their subconscious cues. It's further described in polyvagal theory by Stephen Porges. As your vagal tone improves, your body exits survival mode, and you become neurologically or neurobiologically unrecognizable to those wired to exploit your trauma. Also, narcissists are unconsciously attracted to codependence because of the matching wound imprint, whether it's abandonment or inadequacy or invisibility. But when you integrate your shadow child and restore self-belonging, that energetic agreement dissolves because you start bleeding what the narcissists feed on. And in Buddhism, particularly Theravada Buddhism, we are warned about what are called asavas, which are deep unconscious inflows that leak spiritual energy. You see, and narcissists are samsaric predators, samsara meaning the cycle of suffering. So they're suffering generating predators who attach themselves to unexamined asavas. The asavas are the unconscious inflows in your mind, which create defilements, kilesas. And when you cut these inflows through mindfulness, you collapse the craving cycle, the addiction to suffering, on your side and on their side. Thus, you become invisible to their karmic, magnetic attempts. And in quantum field theory, perception resonance collapses possibilities into form, meaning narcissists exist in the frequency of unresolved timelines. So when you heal, you're no longer resonating on that frequency, and you're no longer visible on that timeline that the narcissist is comfortable with. So let's go further into sort of this cloak of invisibility, as my respected teacher revealed to me and helped me understand how to project this in a very meaningful way, my beloved teacher, Tori Sala. So this cloak of invisibility is not a metaphor. It is scalar, it's vibrational, it's energetic, and it's spiritual, right? And I'll give you some examples to back this up. In Hermetic sciences, it said vibration is law, right? In other words, to change your vibration is to change your world. And as you ascend, you stop emitting the pain frequency narcissists use as a tracking signal. Do you see? Because you have to remember that the narcissist is a very astute predator who can determine who they can attach themselves to for extraction. Further, in the Kabbalistic tree of life, the Sephira of Yesod, which governs the subconscious mind, must be purified before one can enter the Tiferet, right, which is the realm of solar selfhood. And when Yesod is purified, the cloak activates, your subconscious no longer leaks trauma signatures into your field. And you may be saying to yourself, like, okay, that sounds good scientifically, but what's the, or spiritually, but what's the scientific parallel explanation? Well, physics already explains this. For example, it is known in physics that metamaterials can bend light waves. And when this happens, they effectively render objects invisible. So metamaterials bend light waves so things become invisible. Similarly, your energy field, when harmonized, bends attention away from you. And so you cloak not by hiding, but becoming imperceptible to low frequency perception systems. So in Advaita Vedanta, for example, there's this notion of, this reality that there is no separate self, non-dualism. So when you dissolve egoic identification, there's nothing left to attack. So it's said in the Mahamudra, in the same practice of Advaita Vedanta, the yogi abides in non-conceptual awareness, where karmic entities cannot latch because there's no mental object to latch to. Right? In other words, you are not your triggers, and thus you cannot be manipulated. You see the game? So, if you want to learn more about how to activate your own cloak of invisibility, reach out, type transform in the comment section, and we can have a one-on-one session to go deep into this. But I'll go topically over some of the things you can use to activate this cloak of invisibility. Think about this as your minor initiation into this. The first is an energetic declaration, right? Where you may say something such as, I revoke all unconscious contracts with low frequency energies. I am sovereign. I am cloaked in resonance with my soul. I revoke all unconscious contracts with low frequency energies. I am sovereign. I am cloaked in resonance with my soul. And you realize that words are not merely sound, although they are. Words are frequency keys. And this is spiritual law encoded in both the Bible, in the beginning was the word, and the ancient Egyptian Heka, meaning spiritual speech magic. You come to nervous system shielding, where you begin to train your vagus nerve with breath work, humming, or whatever you like to hum, or singing. Cold plunges are really great for this. Or if you don't want a cold plunge, if you're taking a regular shower, you can just turn it to cold temperature for a few moments, whether it's 30 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever you can, or 60 seconds, whatever you can handle. Because you realize that when you shield your nervous system, the more regulated you are, the less manipulatable you become. This is the point of being regulated, right? And then, of course, there's visualization, spiritual visualization, where when you visualize fractals, golden geometry, and things of that nature, you begin to cloak yourself in sacred geometry. This is sort of the work of Nassim Haramein and Drumvalo Melchizedek, where you visualize fractal golden geometry forming a grid around your field. Sort of the Merkabah meditation, if you like, by Drumvalo Melchizedek, as an example. Or you can just imagine that you're cloaked in this field that protects you. And then the fourth I would go into is realize that you perform nothing, you reveal nothing, and you react to nothing. Meaning the cloak only activates when you stop performing for safety. This is the final test. You must become unbothered, unhooked, and unentertained by the bait of performance, even to correct, prove, or explain. You just are retired from that. So this is a critical spiritual technology in 2025 and beyond, because it's not just about one narcissist. This is about a planetary software upgrade. In 2025, the Earth's electromagnetic field is fluctuating, right? The Schumann resonance, magnetic pole drifts, etc. And as the spiritual veil thins, psychic warfare intensifies. And empaths are now being drafted into spiritual slavery through subtle contracts, whether it's performative activism, or conscious communities still rooted in hierarchy, or trauma-informed predators masking as healers. And to survive this era, you must become energetically undetectable to all systems rooted in egoic control, you see. And so you don't just exit the relationships, you exit the frequency of oppression, you exit the matrix, and you become the anomaly. If this resonated with you, like, share, subscribe. Realize that you're not a victim. You are a dimensional gatekeeper. Keep ascending. Peace.